I don't know.
This is the story of how I bursted 200 words per minute with just 2 fingers and got myself a world record. Don't believe me? Well, here's a hand count. This is the story of how I bursted 200 words per minute with 2 fingers and got myself a world record. About a month ago, I found this video online titled 200 words per minute with 2 fingers. As I usually am when I see something like this, I was very skeptical, so I decided to check it out. However, in this video, a typist named Starsuki literally typed 10 words on monkey type at 200 words per minute with just 2 fingers. And here is the video. As you can see in that extremely laggy rendition of Starsuki's insane typing feat, it was legitimate. Everything about this clip right here was legitimate. It was on monkey type, 10 words, and he or she bursted 200 words a minute with just 2 fingers. Now, at the time, I vowed to myself that I would beat this record. However, I did not know the journey that I would take to make it to beating this record and how long and how hard it would be. However, 2 weeks ago, I left a comment saying, I will beat this, but until then, that's a pog moment. Nice stuff. And Starsuki replied, uh-oh, it's Penguin. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I beat this record. So the first thing I needed to do was replicate the conditions in which Starsuki was able to burst 200 words per minute with 2 fingers. Now, Starsuki did it on this website called Monkey Type, which you guys will probably know. And the mode in which he used, or she, was words 10, where Monkey Type gives you 10 random words and you have to type them as fast as possible. Now, as you can see here, I'm currently on words 10, and I got 10 words. And Starsuki went to this and typed 10 words at 200 words per minute. However, I was not going into this challenge cold chicken. I had already done 10 words on monkey type many times in the past. Back when I was preparing for the Nitro Type Olympics, I would warm up every single day by doing 5 to 10 of these exact same tests. 10-15 times I would just do words 10 on monkey type. So I had already done this test, this website, this mode before multiple times, so I kind of knew what I was doing. However, my best was only 185. And as you will see, getting that jump from 185 to 200 is insane. That's like asking a 200 average typist to improve their high speed to 240. It's impossible. Right? The amount of dedication and skill that you need to put into improving such a small amount at such a fast speed is actually way more than a lot of you guys will think. Some slower typists might be like, well, Penguin, I improved 15 words per minute in 2 months. Why are you so... But 15 words per minute, once you get up to this extremely fast speed, is actually insane. However, I was not discouraged. I started practicing 2 weeks ago, and I was not able to beat my 185. However, I kept practicing. I got a couple 190s, I think a 195, I got a bunch of 180s, and I thought there was a chance that if I got the right text, I could beat it. So, now we arrive at Saturday night. Well, actually, it was Sunday morning because I was up so late trying to do this. In fact, if I go to my monkey type logs, you will see that it was actually 12:51 in the morning on a Sunday when I was just up all night grinding to try and beat it. And, well, to put it lightly, I beat it. 10 words, 200.78 words per minute. World record. Kind of insane. And of course, you guys can see it right here. However, I will also pull up the screenshot. And here you can see the screenshot that I took at almost 1 in the morning on Sunday. 201 words per minute, words 10, 201 raw, 43 characters, 200 words per minute. Literally a world record. However, here is where things get a little bit tricky. Even though I had already beat the world record, I had actually forgotten what the world record was. In my mind, I had actually tricked myself into thinking that the world record was 205. So when I got this 201, I was actually disappointed because I thought that I hadn't beat the record yet. Which, as incredible as it sounds, is actually true. I beat the record and I didn't even know it. However, now we want to take a look at why this race was so good. If I open up this screenshot shows you guys the words that were in my 201 words per minute race. To, out, for, where, and down can also show. If you look at this, a lot of typists right now are probably thinking, Penguin, that is incredibly easy. And I agree with you guys. Those 10 words right there are incredibly easy. So I wanted to try and figure out how fast that I could go on these specific 10 words. If I could get 201 as a burst on these 10 words, could I potentially go even faster? So I abandoned my search of just trying to get a good passage and used these 10 words to try and break the record. And as you can see, if we go back to monkey type, that is when my mode switched from words 10 to actually custom, which means that I was inputting the exact words of that 201 words per minute race into the custom feature, which means that I could practice it as many times as I wanted. And you will see that my speed immediately increased. 187, 198, 189, 189, 196, etc., etc. So with these 10 custom words that I had gotten my 201 with, I was able to get 190s almost every single time, which may sound ridiculous as my high speed only 2 weeks ago was 185, but with this really good passage, I literally got 190 after 190 after 190. All I had to do was beat 201. And in my mind, I still had to beat 205. And so if we keep scrolling up, you'll see that I actually ended up getting a 203 on the custom text. On that custom text, the same custom text that I got my 201 on, I got a 203. 2 words per minute shy of what I thought that was the record, but actually 2 faster than what the actual world record was, which I had literally set a day earlier. And that was when I realized that the record that I needed to beat was not actually 205 as I thought. When I posted my screenshot of getting 203 in the Night Stripe Discord's main channel, someone commented, Penguin, I thought the record was 200. And to this, I actually looked back at the video and saw that the record that I had spent over a dozen hours trying to beat, I had actually beaten like 10 hours earlier, which was really disappointing. So, after all of that, I hit a record of 201 words per minute on a main track monkey type 10-word burst with just 2 fingers, which is obviously what makes it special. However, as you will see if I scroll up, I actually bursted out a bunch more text, and I eventually got a 200 and... where is it? Yeah, I got a 204. 204 raw, and then a couple minutes later, I got another 203, and then a couple minutes later, I got a 203.95, 204 words per minute raw on the same custom text. So after all of that, I ended up with a 204 bursted record. However, I'm counting it as 201 words per minute record because all the other ones that I went faster 201 were actually ghosted text, which means that I already knew what was coming and I knew like what the words were before I was typing them, if that makes sense. I was using the custom mode, which is obviously not fair. I'm sure if someone were to pick the 10 fastest words, they could burst 210, 215 with 2 fingers. However, I just wanted to see how fast I could go with those 10 words that I had gotten in my main track search. So, after 2 weeks of trying to beat Starsuki's original 200 words per minute with 2 fingers, I can finally rest. and I will leave my second comment on Starsuki's video 2 weeks after my first one. 201 words per minute with 2 fingers. See my video tomorrow. Dun, dun, dun! Thank you all so much for watching. In this video, I go over how I actually got a world record 2-finger burst of 201 words per minute on monkey type 10 words. If you have any questions on how I did this, I can't really answer them. It was pretty much luck. No, but a lot of skill and dedication went into getting this, and I am extremely happy that I did eventually break this record. Go check out Starsuki's video. I only beat his record by like 1 word per minute, so his is still very, very good. And I definitely recommend you guys to check out Starsuki, and I would not be surprised if he/she were to actually break my 201 after this video is released. So go check out them as well. They do great stuff. However, thank you all so much for watching. Comment down below, what's the fastest you guys have ever bursted? I want to hear. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone, and have, as always, a wonderful day.